Hello everyone and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Abhishek V and I'll be guiding you through some important GST updates and effortless management in Zoho Books. Whether you are a business owner, accountant or a finance professional, these updates are designed to stay compliant and streamline your operations. Let's get into today's agenda. Today we are going to discuss about overview of GST, configuring GST settings in Zoho Books, GST filing module overview in Zoho Books, IMS dashboard, and recent updates happened in e-way bill system. And followed by that, we have a small FAQ and Q&A session. What is GST? GST is a comprehensive indirect tax collected on the supply of goods and services. It has replaced multiple indirect taxes in India, making the tax system more unified and transparent. Let's see the steps to enable the API access in the GST portal. Zoho is a registered GSP and you can also enable the API access for seamless integration with the GST portal. This ensures smooth data exchange and compliance with the GST regulations. Log into your GST portal and once you have logged in with your credential, top right corner you can click on My Profile and under that you will have a Manage API Access option. Once you click on the Manage API Access from the quick links, you can select the duration of the API access which you wish to provide and then confirm it. Upon confirming it, you can directly log into Zoho Books to configure the GST number in Zoho Books. Here, this is the landing page of our Zoho Books. Once you have logged into Zoho Books, top right corner you will have a gear icon. Click on that, Taxes and Compliance heading. Under the Taxes and Compliance heading, you have Taxes option. If you are new to Zoho Books, initially, once you click on Tax section, the page will appear like this. If you have a GST number, you can enable this option by declaring that your business is registered with GST. Once you have configured the GST number will appear under the GST settings. By clicking on it, you can see the GST number and next to it you have Get Taxpayer Details. Once you click on this Get Taxpayer Details, your business legal name will be auto-populated from the GST portal as you have mentioned in the GST portal. Below that, we have business trade name. You can update that. And right below that, we have GST registered on. You can mention that as well. And then we have reverse charge. If you are going to create sales transactions with a reverse charge mechanism, you can enable this preference. And below that, we have import and export option. If your business is involved in import or export services or goods for sales or overseas trading, you can enable this preference. Once you enable this preference, down below you can find a drop down to select the account to record all your custom duty tracking. And the last, digital services. If you are going to provide any digital services for your overseas clients, you can enable this preference to track it. Moving on to the next tab, it is online filing settings. Here you can see the GST and username, and right below that we have reporting period. Reporting period is nothing but if we are going to proceed with the filing monthly or quarterly. If you have selected monthly, in the GST filing module it will show the returns monthly. Right below that we have QRMP scheme. If your business is registered under the QRMP scheme, you can enable this checkbox. And then we have generate first tax return from. Generate first tax return from is nothing but if you wish to start the filing in Zoho Books from this month, that is a current month, you can select that current month here, or else if you wish to view the previous data, you can select the previous period as well. What happens when you select the previous period? When you select the previous period, the previous data will be fetched from the GST portal. You can just view them, and from that period till the current filing period, you have to mark all your returns as filed to proceed with your current filing. So please note that you are selecting the appropriate period here. And right below that we have GST filing approval. By enabling this is an exclusive feature as well. By enabling this, you can select your approval. Let's say you have multiple users in your organization. If the user is reconciling all your GST data, you can select an approver who can verify the reconciliations and the GST data. Upon his approval, these data will be pushed to the GST portal. After this configuration, you can click on Save button. Once your tax settings are configured, the GST filing module will appear on left hand side of your Zoho Books dashboard. Clicking on it, it will allow you to file your GST returns directly from Zoho Books. Before moving into this, let's see what are all covered under the GST filing module. In GST filing module, you can file and manage several key GST returns, which is GSTR1, GSTR2A and 2B, GSTR3B and GSTR9. Let's break down this one by one. Once you click on this GST filing module, you can able to see the GST number, and by clicking on this view returns, you can able to see all the GST filings. Make sure you are selecting the correct filing period. Once you select the filing period, you can see the GSTR1 here. Before moving into GSTR1, what is GSTR1? GSTR1 is a monthly or quarterly return that contains details of all the outward supply of goods and services. The due date for filing GSTR1 is 11th day of the succeeding month. Here you can see the transactions count. This count is fetched from Zoho Books itself. The transaction which you have created in Zoho Books will be appearing by clicking onto this transaction. By clicking into it, you can see three tabs: Overview, Push to GSTIN and File Your Return tab. In Overview tab, you can see all the bifurcations of those transactions based on its type. One is B2B, B2CL, that means large, export invoices, B2C small invoices, exempted invoice, credit note and debit note, and right below that we have the advance payments, tax paid and HSN summary. You will notice a small eye icon next to the label. By placing the cursor onto it, you can view the detail of the respective labels. It is called information tooltip. And let's see what is new update in this GSTR1. Here we have given the pop-up window. As you can see, as per the 53rd Council meeting, the threshold limit for the B2C large has been reduced from 2.5 lakhs to 1 lakh. It means the transaction value which is exceeding the 1 lakh amount, 1 lakh will be displayed under B2C large. The transaction value which are below 1 lakh will be displayed under B2C small. So this is all about overview section. Let's move on to push to GSTN tab. In this, the transaction summary tab will give you the data as you saw in the overview page, and then we have HSN. The HSN tab will give you the transaction list based on HSN number wise. and the nil will show you all the nil returns, nil transactions which you have created in Zoho Books. And then we have B2C small. B2C small will display the transactions whose value is less than 1 lakh as we discussed on the overview page. Moving on to the next tab, document issued. Document issued will give you an option to enter all the document you have issued on the respective filing period. By clicking on this edit button, you are allowed to enter the serial number, total number of documents you have issued, and total number of documents you have cancelled. After this, you can save these details, and then we'll see to the next section called supplies through ECO. ECO is nothing but e-commerce operator. Any sales transaction which you have created, the e-commerce operator will be displayed here. How to record your e-commerce operator in Zoho Books? Once you click on the settings button, under the sales header, you can see invoices option. Once you click on invoices, here we have field customization section. Here we have the default field called e-commerce operator. Once you click on this drop down, you will find mark as active button. Here it is showing mark as inactive because already it has been enabled. By enabling this option, this custom field will be shown while creating the transaction. This is the transactions creation page where you can see e-commerce operator field. I have already Amazon as an e-commerce operator. If you wish to add few more e-commerce operator, click on the manage e-commerce operator option, which allows you to add new e-commerce operator. By clicking on that add new button, you can mention your e-commerce operator name and the GST number, and then click on save and select. Once you click on it, the e-commerce operator will be selected here, and point to be noted here is please make sure you are enabling this checkbox that this transaction is applicable for reverse charge. Only when you enable this checkbox, that transaction will be displayed under the e-commerce section. Let's move back to the GST filing module. Here you can see the transaction which I have created in Zoho Books. So this is how we will be recording the e-commerce operator transactions in Zoho Books. After validating all these details, we have an option called push to GSTIN. By clicking on this button, the transactions will be pushed to the GST portal from Zoho Books. During that process, if any transactions or any failures happening, the failures will be displayed under failed transactions button. By clicking on this, you can view the details of the transaction number, transaction date, transaction type, error code, and error message. Viewing the error message, if you wish to edit those transactions and correct those transactions means, before going for the edit, make sure you are clicking on reset push button. This will ensure the transactions which are already pushed will be revoked, and after making the changes, once again you can push it to the GST portal. Now let's move on to this File Your Return tab. Once you click on File Your Return tab, it will ask you to authenticate with your OTP. The OTP will be received to the GST registered mobile number. Upon authenticating, you can proceed with the filing. This is all about GSTR 1. Now let's talk about GSTR 2A versus 2B. Many users ask what is the difference between them. GSTR 2A is a dynamic statement that gets updated whenever your supplier files their GST return. On the other hand, GSTR 2B is a static statement that provides the details of your input tax credit for a specific return period. Zoho Books support both, ensuring you have accurate data for reconciliation and filing. Here we have GSTR 2B. By clicking on this view summary, you can see overall summary and then reconciliation. Before clicking on view summary, you can click on fetch summary button to fetch the details from the GST portal. It means your vendor have done the filing of GSTR1, those details will be fetched into your books. Moving back to overall summary, we have three tabs. One is ITC available, ITC not available, and ITC reversal. Here you can see the respective data according to the GST filing of your vendor. And moving on to the next section, reconciliation. Here you can reconcile the transaction with your vendor's data. There are four tabs here. One is matched, partially matched, missing in Zoho Books, and missing in GSTIN. What is matched? Matched tab will display the data which are accurately in line with your vendor's filing data. Partially matched. If there is minor value changes in the transaction which you have recorded in Zoho Books and with the data fetched in from the GST portal will be displayed here. And next is missing in Zoho Books. This data will show the vendor's detail, that is, your supplier have made the GSTR1 filing, but that transaction which is not visible in Zoho Books will be displayed in this section. And then the fourth tab, missing in GSTIN. Missing in GSTIN is nothing but you have recorded the transaction in Zoho Books, however, your vendor haven't made the filing in the GST portal, those details will be appearing here. If you feel you wanted to add the transactions which are missing in Zoho Books into Zoho Books, we have an action button where you can directly add those transactions, create those transactions in Zoho Books, and you can reconcile them. Then let's move on to the next topic, GSTR 3B filing. What is GSTR 3B filing? A monthly summary return that includes details of outward supplies, input tax credit, and tax liability. The due date for filing GSTR 3B is the 20th day of the following month. Zoho Book simplifies this process by auto-populating the required data, making it easier for your review and to file your returns. By clicking on this View Summary button, you can find three tabs in this section. One is Push to GST, GST Payment, and Filing. Under Push to GST, this 3B summary is split into 5 parts. Part 1 will display your GST number. Part 2 will display the GST username. And the part 3 is subdivided into 3.1, 3.1.1 and 3.2. 3.1 will show you the outward supplies and inward supplies which are liable to pay, and 3.1.1 will show you the e-commerce transactions which are liable to pay the tax. And right below that we have 3.2, which will show you the details of interstate supplies made to unregistered person, composition taxable person, and UN holders. And then we have fourth part, which will give you the eligible ITC details and the ITC reversed details. And moving on to the fifth part, it will give you the values of exempted, nil rated, and non-GST inward supplies. Upon validating all those details, if you wish to push these data to the GST portal, click on Push to GSTN. And by clicking on Check Status button, you can check the status of the transaction pushed. Now, let's move on to the second tab, GST payment. Here in Zoho Books, you can make the payment directly if you have integrated our partner banks to Zoho Books. What are our partner banks? Our partner banks are HSBC. You can able to initiate the payment, that is a GST payment, directly from the Zoho Books. If you haven't integrated with Zoho Books, not an issue. Simply clicking on this record payment button, you will be allowed to record your GST payments. Payment date, paid through account, reference number, challan date, and by filling all the details to set off the respective ledgers, you can update the value and record payment. Once the payment has been recorded, you can view the recent payment history down below. Moving on to the next tab, filing. If you are going to file the return, just simply clicking on File Now button, you can proceed with the filing. You can sign the GSTR 3B filing using EVC and DSC. And then we have given an option to enter the authorized signatory PAN number. By clicking on this checkbox, the consent, you can generate the OTP for your registered mobile number, and then you can proceed with the filing. Let's say you have done the filing directly in the portal. If you wish to mark the filing here as done, by simply clicking on this Mark as File button, you are going to declare that this specific period's 3B return has been already filed. And also, we wanted to add a point in 3B that recent update in GST includes supporting negative values pushing to the GST portal. Earlier, the negative values were not allowed to push to the GST portal. Now, it is supported to push the negative values to the GST portal. Moving on to the next, GSTR 9. For GSTR 9, we have a separate tab called Annual Returns. Here, you can see GSTR 9 for the respective financial year. GSTR 9 is an annual return filed on 31st December of the year following the financial year. It contains the details of sales, purchase, and GST charged and paid during the financial year. By clicking on this View Return, you can able to see 4 tabs. The first tab is View Return tab. Here, you can able to see the details which are fetched from GST portal. By clicking on Regenerate Return, it will fetch you the updated data from the GST portal. Moving on to the next, Fetch and Update. Here, the details which are fetched from the GST portal will appear. If you wish to make any changes in the values, you can click on the pencil icon, it will appear on the respective sections. You can update the values and then you can push those updated transactions to the GST portal. Here we have the button called Push to GST. So by clicking on this, the data will be pushed to the GST portal. Post which we have File Return tab. Here, by clicking on this, you can generate OTP and then you can mark the return as filed. Point to be noted here is direct filing for GSTR1 is not supported as of now. However, you can export the JSON file of your GSTR1. In the new updates, we have provided the JSON export for GSTR9, which will help you to extract the JSON file for proceeding with the filing in the GST portal. Once the return has been filed, you can mark your returns as been filed in Zoho Books. Now, let's see about one of the most exciting new feature in Zoho Books, the invoice management system. It is called as IMS. Here it is displayed in the separate tab. What is IMS? IMS is an invoice management system is designed to address the complexities surrounding ITC claims. Business often face challenges due to the inaccurate claims and data discrepancies. So, with IMS, GST introduced a pivotal change in the ITC management by empowering recipient taxpayers to accept, reject, or temporarily hold the invoice pending for ITC claims. This streamlines process significantly reduces the confusion and improves accuracy. By clicking on this view summary, you can find three tabs under this section: overall summary, review transactions, and push to GST. Here in the overall summary, you can see three sections which we discussed right now is overview section. It displays all the transaction fetched from the GSTN, including B2B invoices, debit notes, credit notes, and the e-commerce invoice. Review transaction section categorizes transactions into matched, partially matched, and missing. Actions taken on these invoices are recorded here in the review transaction section. Push to GSTN section. Finalized transactions with updated actions are pushed back to the GST portal. In the review transaction sections, as we see in the 2B, we have matched, partially matched, missing in Zoho Books, and reviewed. Let's talk about the actions. Here in the missing in Zoho Books, we have action button where you can reject or mark as pending. Let's see what are all the actions available in that section. Accept, reject, mark as pending as we seen right now. Accept will the invoices are in which the invoices are approved and included for the ITC calculation. Whereas the reject action will flag the discrepancies and the invoice are excluded from the ITC claims. Mark as pending is just to hold your transactions, which is unresolved queries, and that invoices are carry forwarded to the next subsequent month. If no action is taken, the invoice are considered deemed accepted and included in the ITC calculation. Taxpayers must take action within the supplier's GSTR1 and recipient's GSTR3B deadlines. What is excluded in IMS? Reverse charge mechanism invoices. As we saw in Zoho Books, if the invoices which the recipient is liable for paying taxes bypasses the IMS system and are directly reflected in the GSTR 2B reconciliation page. ITC ineligible transactions also excluded from the IMS and directly reflected in the 2B section. How to access IMS in GST portal? To access IMS in the GST portal, navigate to the service, return, and then IMS dashboard. Services in the returns and then IMS dashboard. The IMS dashboard displays all transactions uploaded by the supplier along with the action taken against them as we saw in our Zoho Books app. Unique challenges and solutions in Zoho Books. The unique challenges are deemed acceptance. It means, as I said earlier, if you are not going to take action on the invoices which are displayed in the IMS, it's automatically accepted for the ITC claims. Reset action. User can reset the previously taken action to make the correction. Let's say instead of accepting the invoice, you have marked it as rejected. If you wanted to make any changes, yes, you can do it. QRMP taxpayers. 2B for QRMP taxpayers is generated quarterly and the transactions are pushed to the GST accordingly. Supplier edit. If the supplier edit the invoice after the actions are taken, user can pull the updated transactions, reset reconciliation and take new action. This is all about IMS. And let's move on to the next topic, e-way bill. In settings under taxes and compliance, you can find e-way bill option. When you have enabled this e-way bill option in Zoho Books, we have few updates in e-way bill system, which is the railway receipt number format has been updated in the e-way bill generation page. And also an advisory has been issued for e-way bill in Kerala state for the intrastate movement. This is the second update is only dedicatedly for the Kerala state. And let's have a recap what we have discussed today. Today we have covered overview of GST and configuration in Zoho Books, and we came across all the filing process of GSTR 1, 2A and 2B, 3B and GSTR 9. New features like IMS dashboard we have covered, and we have also covered the JSON export of GSTR 9. Recent updates in the e-way bill and the GST compliance. These are all the topics we have covered right now. Let's move on to the FAQs. Usually, our customers ask why we need to click on regenerate button in GSTR 2B if the transactions are automatically fetched in the GST portal. The reason is only when you click on regenerate button, in the view summary page, we have regenerate button. Only when you click on regenerate button, the latest transactions, let's say if your supplier have made any changes in the GSTR1 or any manual amendment has been passed to maintain it in line to fetch the most accurate and up-to-date details, you have to click on regenerate button. The common question asked is why there is a value difference shown in the overview summary and the drill down value. So this is related to 3B. When you click on view summary in the 3B, here in the overview page, in the summary page, you can see the values. Once you click on this, it will drill down to the transactions which are responsible for that value. When you export this and sum up the value, there might be discrepancies. This is due to the transactions which are displayed here are the transactions created in Zoho Books. However, if you have done changes directly in the GST portal, which is not recorded in Zoho Books, the updated value from the GST portal will be displayed here. So now you can able to identify the difference. So in the summary page, the values shown are populated from the GST portal. And the next question is transaction posting date. Do we have transaction posting date? Yes, we have. How to enable this? I'll show you on the screen. Click on the settings button. Once you click on the settings button, Under purchases, we have bills section. In bills, under field customization, we have introduced the default field called transaction posting date. Click on the drop down to mark it as active. By marking it as active, this will appear while creating the bill transaction. This transaction posting date will allow you to claim your ITCs as per the transaction posting date. So there will be two dates, one is a bill date and posting date. In all the reports and the journals will be passed based on the transaction posting date. Then this is one of the common query is I need to edit the transactions for which the returns are already filed. When you try to edit the transactions in Zoho Books, it will throw you an error stating that the returns has been already filed. If you wanted to make any changes as per the amendment passed or any changes you made in GST portal, you will be trying to edit the transactions in Zoho Books. During that time, you would have marked the return as filed in Zoho Books. Here in the GSTR1, if you have directly filed it in the GST portal or if you have done the filing in Zoho Books, by default, this will appear in the status called filed. So when you try to make changes in this 25 transaction, it will throw you an error. The filing has been done for the respective period. To make changes in this count 25 transactions, you have to mark this as unfiled and then you will be allowed to make the changes in the transaction. Post the changes has been done, once again you can click on this mark as file button and you can file the returns. And now we have came to the end of the session. That wraps up the key updates and new features in Zoho Books based on the latest GST circular. These changes are designed to help you stay compliant, streamline your workflow, and make your financial management more efficient. Thank you for joining today's webinar. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Hi, we have a question from Pritish Modi. How can we update details of GST TDS while filing 3B because the amount get reduced to the extent GST TDS? See, in Zoho Books, you can able to keep track of your GST TDS. However, this details will not be included in the GSTR 3B report. This feature is in our roadmap and you can expect this feature shortly in Zoho Books as well. And in the meantime, if you wish to do any changes, you can directly do it in the GST portal. How to generate e-way bill shipping from and dispatch from? I guess you're referring to the transaction type. So Zoho Books provide you 4 different types while creating the e-way bill. The 4 types are bill from, dispatch from, bill to and ship to. So the first one is you can choose the drop down as regular, ship to, bill from, dispatch from, and combination of 2 and 3. What is regular? The transaction type will be regular if only the bill from and the bill to address are available in the e-invoice. In this case, the movement of goods is between you and your customer. Bill to ship to. The transaction type will be bill to ship to if the bill from, bill to, ship to address are present in the e-invoice. In this case, the movement of goods is between you and the third party to whom your customer is requested the goods to be delivered. Bill from and dispatch from. Here, the transaction type will be bill from, dispatch from, and here the 3 parties are involved. Combination of 2 and 3. The transaction type will be combination of dispatch from, bill to and ship to. Address are present in the invoice. In this case, the movement of goods between you and your customer, but the person delivering the goods and the person receiving the goods is third party. you can generate e-invoice. As I previously mentioned in this session, Zoho is a GSP. We are the GSP. In settings, under tax and compliance, we have e-invoicing option. By clicking on this e-invoicing option, once you have configured the tax in the tax section, the GST number will be shown here. By clicking on connect now, you can update your username and password which you have generated in the GST portal. Upon enabling this, you can seamlessly push your invoices from Zoho Books to the IRP system. Yeah, after pushing it to the e-invoice, yes, you can make changes, but there are certain fields you can make changes. And those fields are order number field, due date, customer notes, additional information, custom fields if you have created, and terms and conditions. Then reference number, customer notes, additional fields, custom fields and terms and conditions in the credit note. So these are all the fields you can update after pushing into the IRP. I hope we have answered all your queries. If you have any further queries, you can reach out to our support team. It's available from Monday to Friday, and you can also directly reach out to our toll-free number. We are available from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday to Friday. And also we are providing support in multiple languages like English, Hindi, Tamil, Telugu, Kannadam, Malayalam, and you can just reach out to a toll-free and you can select the respective number to redirect to the respective language agent. Hope you have understood this session, and this session would have been informative to you. I would like to have you in another session. Until then, thank you from Abhishek.